All right, so whenever you're ready.
All right, imagine this. You've just finished your daily run and you're extremely thirsty. So you run to the vending machine, you put in your $1.25, and you get a bottle of water. You drink your bottle of water and you throw it away, right? Did you know that if you continue this habit all year long, you'll spend more than $400 on bottled water alone? Did you know that that one bottle of water took 3 bottles worth of water to make? Probably not. Well, with that information and the other information you'll learn in my speech, you'll probably start to understand why tap water is far better than bottled water. So, during the speech, you'll learn how your personal health and the environment can be affected by your change from bottled water to tap water, and you'll also learn some helpful hints on how to make the change. I first got interested in saving the environment about 2 summers ago. I read this really influential book called Plan B by Lester Brown. And I was very interested in it. I read several other books, read some magazine articles, listened to some people speak, and so I'll be using some of those books, some magazines, and my own personal experience as sources. So, changing from using bottled water to tap water can be a big step, and I understand that. But once you understand how your health may be affected, it can be easier. Some of the common misconceptions you might have is that tap water is actually less healthy than bottled water, but that's wrong. Why? Well, according to the 1984 book, Principles of Water Quality by Thomas D. Wade, water has been regulated since way back in 1893. And water is regulated by the EPA, which is the government, whereas bottled water is regulated by the FDA, which is not so much branch of the government, or not so carefully regulated. And the government takes very careful care of our water. They make sure that there's no bacteria that can be harmful. They make sure that any diseases that have been caused by water can be taken care of. And they leave the good stuff, like fluoride, which is good for your teeth, your bones, and your overall health. Tap water is good. On the other hand, bottled water, which is taken care of by the FDA, has some loopholes. Some things you might not know. According to the 2006 book, Fine Water, by Michael Masha, over 40% of bottled water is actually just tap water put into plastic bottles and shipped to you. Now, you think that that may not be legal, but under the FDA, which takes care of bottled water, that is legal. Another thing that's surprising is that they can mislabel the bottles. In other words, they can tell you that they're bottling pure waterfalls, beautiful underground springs, when in fact they could be bottling the water from their backyard swamp. It's probably not going to be that drastic, but they are allowed to mislabel, and that's a very bad thing. So not only is tap water better for you, but it's easier to get, and it's easier on the environment. According to Emily Arnold and Janet Lawson in their online recap of a book, bottled water takes an enormous amount of energy to create and then transport. Most bottled water travels hundreds of miles, usually across national borders or across seas in boats and big trucks and stuff. You see them on the highway all the time. And that takes a lot of fuel to transport. Also, the actual making of bottles is a huge impact on the environment. Almost 17 million barrels of oil per year, which would fuel probably 1 million American cars for a year, is used. Also, 2.7 million tons of plastic. That's a lot of plastic. So imagine, when you could just walk to your tap, turn the water on, take a drink of cold, clear water, you may in fact be drinking a bottle that's traveled in a nice, hot, stinky truck for hundreds and hundreds of miles, and it probably doesn't taste as good. If you think the fuel and energy and plastic used to make bottled water is amazing, wait until you hear about the impact of the bottles on the environment once they've been used. As most of you probably know, once you've used a bottle of water, the best thing to do is to recycle it, or to use it again. But unfortunately, 86% of bottles don't ever make it into the recycling. They go straight into the earth. Once this plastic is in the earth, it takes 1,000 years to biodegrade. And while it's biodegrading, it's leaching awful chemicals into the soil and into the water, which will eventually come back and be drunk by us. So we're ruining that. And then the plastic water bottles that don't make it into the trash and don't make it into they don't make it into the ground. They end up in the ocean, usually, because all things lead to the ocean. So those bottles in the ocean are then going to disrupt marine life, and the fragile marine life will disrupt our lives eventually. So we're ruining that ecosystem as well. By now, you probably are in favor of tap water instead of bottled water. But how do you make the change? Well, it may be easier than you think. One one simple thing you can do is invest in a reusable water bottle. I'm sure you guys have all seen them. Many of you guys have them. I saw a few camelbacks around the room. Yeah, you always have yours. When you're buying a reusable plastic water bottle, always check the bottom to see if it has BPA free, which is, BPA is a chemical in old plastic water bottles that's sort of linked with cancer. So watch out for that. Most of the new ones are BPA free. And you can refill this water bottle 800 times for less than $1. Another thing that you can do, if you're at a sporting event or the mall and you think that the only way you can get water is to buy a plastic water bottle, you may be wrong. In most states, it's law that if you go up to a vendor and ask them for water, they have to give you a free cup of water. So don't buy the water bottle. Don't buy the water bottle. Ask the vendor first. Another thing that you can do if you're still wary of the health of tap water is you can go to one of your family neighborhood stores like Menards, Home Depot, and you can buy a water filter, which you can stick right on your faucet. And your refrigerator does the same thing. If you can get water out of your refrigerator, it filters your water. And that will keep your water clean if you think that tap water is not clean enough, and it is also a way to get rid of bottled water. But the most important thing you can do, and this one people don't think about so much, tell your friends. Talk to your friends about changing from bottled water to tap water, because you can't change the environment alone. But if you tell a friend and they tell a friend and they write an article, things start to change. All right, so now you know the dark and dirty facts on bottled water. Their health effects on the environment and their health effects on you and their effects on the environment. You also can make the transition from bottle to tap. So next time you're standing in front of the vending machine, drink out of your reusable water bottle, buy your Reese's with your $1.25, and recycle everything you can. Oh!